Welcome in, everybody, to another Tech Talk with Bateman. Really excited today to be joined by Jan Hanten, the GUI engineering lead for PIXERA, one of our lead devs, an overall just awesome guy. So we'll go ahead and bring Jan in here. Jan, how you doing today?
Hey, fine, thanks. How are
Yeah,
you?
good, doing well. How is it over? And you're in, where in Germany are you again?
Western part, close
Western part.
to Cologne,
Okay,
Düsseldorf.
close to
Yeah,
Cologne. Right.
yeah.
Thanks for sticking around on a Friday afternoon for you and a Friday morning for me. We'll just go ahead and jump right in. We're gonna talk a little bit about kind of Pixar's new numbering system, and we'll dig into some of the features. Jan, can you tell us a little bit about what your job is with the software itself and kind of where you what you're doing for the software?
Yeah, as you said, I lead the GUI team, so we are yeah, like let me count, 5 developers, working on the GUI, and yeah, I joined AV Stumpfel right from the beginning when we started to work on Pixera, and yeah, so I'm do a lot of work, yeah, with the GUI, and also, of course, yeah, I'm in contact with colleagues working on the render engine and so on. So yeah, that's my job.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and dig right into it. We have, I've just got a couple of slides here because I think the first thing we want to talk about, we've moved to this new numbering system with our Pixera versions, and I wanted to go over with our users a little bit more about that new numbering system, especially because as we move into 2026 and some of our new versions there, we're going to see a turnover of version numbers, and I think it's a good time to talk about that new system. So previously, we basically had a system where we would have a we had 1.8, and then we had 1.9, and then we had 2.0, and all of these things kind of made it hard. It had some issues. It made it hard to know how old a version was. You couldn't really timestamp it anywhere. You just kind of looked at it and had to take a guess as when it was released. And we also had a kind of an interesting numbering system where odd numbered versions were internal releases and even numbered versions were external releases, and it made it hard to kind of decipher what was an internal, what was an external, who was supposed to get what was public, what was gold. um, and so we've made this decision after 2.0. We made this decision earlier this year to switch into a new numbering schema where we basically lead with the year number as our version. So if you've used Pixera this year at all, you would know it's 25 dot something something something, right? Jan, can you talk about that decision at all and what led us down this path?
Yeah, I mean, you already mentioned a lot of reasons, so I think it's much easier now to uh, understand when the version was built, and yeah, to distinguish between the different version, if it's an internal version or if it's an official release. We introduced the in between letters or words. So we have the inter and the RC and the R. So inter means basically every version between the last official release and the next official release. So currently, we are building, as we'll see in a few minutes, we built 25.3 inter versions because these are the versions between the 25.2 release and the upcoming next release. And since we are still in 2025, it's called 25.3 inter something. And yeah, when we talk about the final release of this version. This might or probably happen in 2026. We're going to change immediately. We changed when 2026 starts. Also, the versions will be named 26 and then 0.1 because it will be the first release in 2026.
Right.
So yeah.
So kind of what we're saying is that at the end of this year, we're hoping to release an intermediate version, an interversion of 25.3 publicly within the next couple weeks that folks can start playing around with and taking a look at some of these new features. That version will eventually become 26.1 because when the year turns over, that version will become 26 instead of 25. Even though we've been doing a bunch of development on it, that version number just turns over with the new year.
Yeah, correct.
Right. We've also added a version descriptor. We have inter. You talked about we have R, which is release. We also have RC, which is release candidate. That's typically used for internal testing, but you may end up with that version if there's some feature or fix that you needed. So just to let our users know that RC, which is release candidate, and R, which is release versions, are distinctly different. And R versions are kind of our gold release versions that we work with. Great. Anything else you want to say there, Jan?
No, I mean, maybe what we could, since we currently the 25.2 is our current release. I think 25.2 R3 is the official release currently. We will come up with a little bug fix release probably next week, and just the same there. It won't be R4 because we obviously we created versions in between, and so this will probably be in R12, or I don't know exactly, but something. Right. That's maybe also worth mentioning, that the numbers just continue also for release and also for release candidate.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're not seeing exactly the next numerical version release, don't fret, don't worry. We're still giving you the kind of latest and greatest for you. All right. Thanks, Jan. So let's real quick, we're going to dig into a bunch of new features today for 25.3. Got some exciting stuff to show. First, want to show off our Touch Designer integration that we've been working on and talk a little bit about the Render Bridge extension, which will lead us into some new frame synchronization functionality that we've built into the server and to the software. We'll then jump into the compositing tab and talk about a bunch of little brushes and little new features that we've added there, especially dealing with some time code and clock stuff, which I think is really exciting. A highly requested feature for a long time, our ping pong mode. I know everyone's going to be pretty excited about that one. And then you've got some new mapping brushes and fixes and features that you want to show that I've seen a little sneak peek of. I think it's really exciting. I think a lot of people are going to be really excited about that. So yeah, let's just jump in. We've already got a project pulled up. Jan, I'll let you kind of lead the way, and I'll ask questions as we go.
All right. Yeah. As you said, let's start with the Touch Designer integration. Just move over here to the compositing tab, and sorry, that's probably Team Viewer. Yeah, as you can see, so this image here is produced by Touch Designer. So this is the Touch Designer resource. You can add it exactly the same way as you would add an Unreal resource or a Notch resource, for example. It's also a compositing resource, what we call compositing resource, because it opens up another compositing space next to or in addition to the PIXERA content compositing space. And yeah, something special about the Touch Designer integration is that you have to edit twice, because one instance just shares the outputs and one instance shares all the parameters. So parameters can be, since it is it's based, as you mentioned before, it's based on our render bridge extension. Parameters can be exchanged in both directions. So you can send values to Touch Designer, but you can also receive values, and you can send textures to Touch Designer and receive textures. Yeah, the render bridge, or maybe, yeah, Touch Designer. I mean, you let's stick there just for a second. You have to export the TOX file. So we have a great documentation which will lead you through the process. This is the whole Touch Designer integration is still currently in a beta program. So if you're interested, get in touch with us and you will get access.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I just want to shout out our team member Tavia, who has put together some great documentation and is leading up this beta process. So if you're interested, submit a ticket, and we'll see if we can get you looped in. There's some prerequisites with it, so that you know a little bit about PIXERA. You've got some Touch Designer experience, but we're really excited to kind of get this out in the wild and see how people start pushing it. There's some limitations. As of right now, you're unable to do this Touch Designer integration with more than one server. Although I know we're working on getting that sorted. But right now, you can do the touch engine on one server out of multiple outputs from that one server. It's a pretty slick integration, and it's super exciting to see it kind of finally come to fruition here. So yeah, really exciting stuff.
Yeah, and maybe I think we can't see it in this. This is more just a demo extension to get everything running, a demo project, but it's also possible, for example, since it is this compositing extension, to also share, for example, the perspectives, the properties of the perspectives, the screen perspectives with the extension. So you can just create worlds in Touch Designer, which are based on the perspective of the audience, and maybe create really great stuff with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really exciting thing to see, and one that I know a lot of folks have been asking about is getting that TOX integration happening. So excited to see what users can come up with. There's some really cool functionality between control and these properties, and sending textures in and out of the TOX file. So you can send a texture, as we're kind of showing in this project. We have a texture coming into the touch and into the Touch Designer project, and then it's actually spitting back into PIXERA, and we could output this from there. So kind of textures going both ways, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so we can move on maybe to the render bridge. Or I mean, render bridge, we released that already in 25.2, but Touch Designer is a great example, which is built with a new extension mechanism.
Can you talk a little bit more about what Render Bridge is, and what makes it unique, and why this integration, this Touch Designer integration in particular, is so exciting? Can you just talk a little more about what that's bringing?
Yeah, I mean, Render Bridge offers a generic interface to our render engine. So as you showed there, it can be used to share textures in both directions, and share parameters in both directions. So it's directly as close as possible connected to the render engine. So with the exchange of the textures as efficient as possible. So we also, for example, use exactly the same the same interface for our notch integration, for example, or for our NDI integration. So all the stuff which feeds textures into PIXERA and but also receives them, maybe NDI out as an example. This is all based on that extension.
So, in I think kind of burying the lead a little bit, this extension in particular was written by someone who's not even part of the PIXERA team.
No. This touch design extension.
The touch design, yes, the touch design. This particular touch designer one was written by someone who's not part of the team. And so, what I think is really cool about that is, you know, someone was able to do their own development and programming to hook into the PIXERA render engine using this render bridge extension. And like Jan said, you know, that's what our dev team uses internally to hook into the render engine for things like NDI outputs, and how we did our notch implementation and some of our other stuff. So, you know, there are some projects out there that some folks are doing that hopefully we'll have some tech talks on pretty soon. But you know, this render bridge extension, it basically gives you access to the render engine directly if you want to do some development and build your own render tools in our render engine. I think it's really exciting.
Yeah. Correct.
Great. All right. There was a little frame synchronization thing that we wanted to talk about in relation to the render bridge extension and some of these extensions like Notch and Touch Designer. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So I mean, yeah, if we think of Notch projects, for example, we have the problem right now if you have a distributed rendering setup. So if you have multiple clients, each running its own render engine instance, it's not guaranteed that the output of the notch block, for example, is rendering in sync, because they are just synchronized by distributed time. But depending on the effect, there might be effects which evolve on a frame-by-frame basis. So it's important that each client renders exactly the same number of frames. And we added the option right here in the inspector of the service, now that you can enable a new frame synchronization mechanism, which guarantees that that all clients render exactly the same number of frames. So you have to define one reference system, and all other systems, all other clients which are connected and which take part in the rendering will follow. And that's a way to ensure that, for example, you can use a notch block on multiple, or Touch Designer on multiple clients.
Great. Yeah. So you know, I said it earlier, and team one step ahead of me already working on the solution to being able to do some of these things across multiple systems. I know it's exciting to be able to kind of bring that in and you know, be able to do that kind of work with these render bridge extensions and have the engine sync things up. It's pretty exciting. Cool. Let's jump over to the compositing tab. I think we've got we'll close this Touch Designer project and open maybe a blank one so we can kind of noodle around a little bit. We've got a question from the YouTube here asking if when will it be possible in the GUI to import render bridge outputs in PIXERA? And I'm a little confused by that question. Are we talking about bringing a render bridge output back into PIXERA to send out another way? A render bridge output is already kind of imported into PIXERA, so. If I would love to hear a little follow up on that from @ScaDiablo or Diabolo. And then Tom is asking, what's the performance hit when using that new sync frame sync thing? And Jan, I don't know that. Have there been any performance tests done? Have you seen anything?
I'm not aware of performance tests, so but as I would say there should be no real performance hit. I mean, what you maybe need to think of is that if it now happens that one client, for example, can't hold the frame rate, it might happen. Uh, that one will drop frames. That's a pity, but all other clients are unaffected. That will change. So because they have to render all the same number of frames, so that might have an impact, but otherwise I don't see a reason for real performance hit.
Cool. Great. More tests
But
to be done.
as I said, or as you said, yeah, more tests.
Yeah.
We definitely will do some performance tests and share them if we did them.
Great. Okay, cool. Let's keep on moving, and we'll just talk about some of these new things we've got. One before we leave the screens tab, one that I'm personally pretty excited about.
The gizmo.
The gizmo, yes.
The gizmo, yeah.
I'm quite excited about this one.
Yeah. So you all know the how you currently select and move around objects, and now we implemented the gizmo. I just pressed now Q on my keyboard, just following common other shortcuts from other 3D authoring tools, and yeah, it's a gizmo as you know it from other 3D programs. W just opens up the rotation tool, and then we have E for the scaling, and yeah, it's still a bit under development, but you will see. I mean, I can move the gizmo around when I grab it here in the middle, and the gizmo and that defines the snapping point. So I can use that one right now to snap it to the other screen here, for example, and it also defines the rotation.
Yes.
Of course, yeah, can rotate this around, and yeah, we need to add a bit more. So what we probably will add until the release, I can't show it right now, but is a way for numerical inputs based on access constraints. One thing maybe worth mentioning also is that shortcut B is already present with the current selection mechanism. The shortcut B, you toggle between the world and the local coordinate system to transform it in the just is, yeah,
awesome.
Rotated around the local axis. Yeah, so that will show up.
Yeah, more functionality to come. A lot of excitement in the chat about it. A question: is this going to work for projectors too, or is this currently only implemented in the screens tab?
Yeah, no, it will work actually for every 3D object in PIXERA. So it's, and you can also go. So that's now the new one, and Q, yeah, you can use it.
Awesome.
Move that one around. So and you can always go back with P. You go back to the P for
system.
plane. You can to the old system, and yeah, I mean it's an alternative. It won't replace the old system. It was just a different way to interact.
Yeah, new way to interact, and especially on some of those bigger projects when you got a lot of objects, being able to move stuff a little more specifically, I think is a really effective tool. All right, yeah, let's keep going here. What else do we have in the compositing tab?
We wanted to talk about Q. queue brushes, yeah,
Yeah.
queue stuff. Maybe we just add some, add some content. One thing, let's add some queues here. Give them just meaningful name.
Real meaningful, really. And especially when you're in the thick of the moment programming,
Yeah.
I can tell you that I've ended up with some of these names before.
Okay. Yeah. Let's give them some space here, and
Oh,
you can see we can change the height of the queue layer here. If there is already a mode in the current release where you can make the queues really small, but then they don't show you the activity anymore, so you lose all the information. Or you can make this thinner, but keep the information. If you give it a little bit of height, you can they don't overlap anymore. So I think that's already a nice improvement. But you can there's also the possibility to add additional queue layers.
right.
So as of now, yeah, I can also add queues here. At the moment, you can see this from the little icon here. You can only add trigger queues.
Which is a new queue type. Can you talk about trigger queues a little bit?
Yet trigger queues don't change the playback basically. So you can use it to trigger other timelines, to send API commands, stuff like that. But it's important they don't
They don't actually affect the transport mode of the timeline at all. It's just
correct.
a place where we can add API commands or trigger something else, but they're not altering the transport mode. And
yeah, correct.
And the new queue layers can only take trigger queues. Is that right?
Yeah, but we probably gonna. That's in the version right now. That's the case here. That's why it also shows the icon here. But we probably gonna make it possible to also add play queues here. We just need to make sure that right now you can, which makes sense, you can just put queues like a play queue and a trigger queue at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So we just need to make sure that you are not able to place two a play queue and a pause queue at the same time, for example, which fight against each other. So
you can also stack these flags on top of each other now. I know you're showing them kind of a little aside each other, but when you stack the queues, it is so satisfying. Having played around with this quite a bit.
Yeah, when I just move it around,
it is the most satisfying thing to just get them to stack right there. It's so nice. Yeah, it's a real, and you can stack multiple ones on top of each other. So yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Someone a lot of excitement about this, which I knew there would be. I think this is a really great feature. Question about, can we mute the queue layers? And the answer is yes, you can. If you click on the little trigger,
yes,
that will no longer trigger that. So
yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right.
So
next
yeah,
up,
let's
we had the
continue with
queues.
Queues, maybe. Yeah, just create some space here. Add the queue list. So some.
Oh
Where
no.
is it? Oh no. Sorry.
It's okay.
What happened there? So we choose the.
This is why it's an internal version.
Yeah.
Intermediate, still working on stuff.
We're gonna have a look at it afterwards.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the dump files afterward. A question as we're kind of waiting for this to come back. There's a a question about being able to see different countdowns for each queue layer. I believe the answer is yes. You'll be able to pull that information from control. So you should be able to figure that one out, to get that information. We'll have a look on if we could build that functionality into something like into the like playback or the PIXERA queue timeline info module or something like that. Jan, I've just pulled the I've kind of switched over so that way you can do a little work if you need to. But it looks like we're back up and running. Oh no, listen, these things happen. We're doing it live. That's what happens when you got a live demo, and
I wanted to show.
We wanted to show.
I try it again.
Yeah.
Let's see if it's reproducible. And it is.
And it
is. Oh my God.
Oh,
so the queue list is the culprit. Sorry, no queue list brushes.
That's okay.
Today.
That's okay. At least, hey, when you can reproduce it, you know how to find it again.
Oh man,
it's okay.
Didn't plan to find it here, but
listen, that's how it goes sometimes. The Scott Diabolo asked about currently render bridge plugins are only loaded for the timeline, not for real outputs. Currently, only way to do this is to override the spout DLL. I don't. That one doesn't make sense to me. The render bridge, that touch designer extension can be loaded to a real output.
But maybe he's asking because you can't send output textures so you can't send an output. So that's why you maybe need Spout to send the whole output. You can stream an output via Spout to an external application, and render bridge doesn't stream an output to an external thing. Interesting. So no plan currently, but I definitely will share it with a colleague.
Something we'll definitely take a look at. All right, no queue list. Although
no queue list today.
Just to say, there's definitely been some queue list brushes, which I think
that's
nice.
That's a pity because we added some. I mean, a search and a filter. And you can make the
if we've got time, we can pull up one of the older versions where it does work and see what's happened there.
Oh, that's let's see. Maybe we can do it afterwards.
All right. Moving on.
Yeah, just maybe worth showing. Let me see. It's now possible to. I mean, if maybe you saw already the icon here, it's possible to lock layers. So if you're done with them and you don't want to change them accidentally, you can lock the layer. You can also lock the whole timeline. Obviously, you can still use it for playback. So it's just that you don't change something accidentally. So it remembers that this layer was locked when I locked the timeline. So this adds up. Yeah, small little feature, but I think very helpful in stressful situations. Yeah, so okay, let's move on. I hope the culprit for the crash was the queue list and not that we changed something here, because I want to change the layout again.
Right.
Want to add some more another window here.
Hey, that one works. All right.
Okay, that works. So it's the queue list. Yeah, clocks. So this is now a clock which displays the current timeline time. But you can also change it to monitor maybe the incoming SIMD input or maybe even the real-time clock. And you can add, of course, multiple of them. So maybe let's split on the left side another clock. So we have the real-time clock here, and yeah, the timeline clock here. It's it scales with the window size. So little helpful thing for you to keep the time, keep an eye on the time during the show, I would
Right.
say.
Right, and some functionality there with incoming time code, and we had a little conversation about how there might be some future extensions to that time code in terms of frame counts and some of that. Anything to say there, or any other things to talk about with time code features in the next version?
Yeah, definitely. I can't show it in the interface right now, but I can talk about it while we look at the clocks. It's a pitch time code, or we call it pitch time code. So if you have, for example, use case would be maybe a DJ show where the DJ changes the BPM to get a smooth transition between tracks. If he changes the BPM over time, the drift correction of PIXERA reacts much faster right now to the change of the timecode speed, and you can, yeah, keep your visuals to playback, keep that in sync to the music. So yeah, it's no big thing you can see there. Maybe we need to add, we will add a few parameters to change how fast, like kind of attack parameter, but yeah, I think it's an important change to the whole drift correction algorithm under the hood. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Very cool. All right, and there one last one we've gotten here is a new play mode that I think everyone's going to be excited about.
Yeah, so we have the ping pong finally, the free loop ping pong. You can choose that one as a clip play mode, of course, but also important um, for like the control via lighting desk. So we have it here, this little ping pong.
Oh my gosh, I love that
Icon.
icon. That's incredible. Very cool. Yeah, ping pong. So basically, the clip will just play back and forth. There's also a ping pong once where it will play all the way forward once and then reverse back through, and then it will hold on the first frame.
Yeah, that's that one here. Right. Correct. Great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We've got some questions coming in the chat. Maybe we'll get to them at the end. I want to make sure, as we're kind of running close on time here, that we get to these last features. Anything else to show in the compositing tab?
Compositing, let me see. I mean, just small brushes, but I mean, we have a lot of small brushes, but maybe on the audio side, you can finally, yeah, also set the audio channels to none. And it's possible, but also to right now in the release, you only define the start channel. You can now also add like channel, I don't know, 1 and 3. So a stereo file would be playback to channels 1 and 3 and not just to 1 and 2.
Awesome.
So
that's a great
small
little
change,
audio
but
routing feature. Well, great. Cool. Let's pull up this last one. Just a brief question while Jan is pulling this up that I want to mention. Marcus asked about explaining the difference between a fix and a brush in PIXERA terms. And Jan, do you want to take that, or?
Yeah, a fix is a bug fix. So a fix fixes an error, and a brush is a small little improvement. Or I mean, it's always hard to draw a hard line. So what is a brush? What is a feature? Brush, I would say, is a small feature, an improvement of an existing functionality. So
Right.
That describes it quite well.
Yeah. So fix being an actual bug fix, a brush being taking something that already works and making it a little better.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we just opened up the project with some LEDs here. That's yeah, a project I got from basically a real world project I got from Michael Memmersheim. I think it's the energy air setup he realized with PIXERA, and yeah, it's a good use case for LED mappings. And one criticism always was that that for LED mappings, you dive in and do the mapping, and if you want to map another screen, you need to dive into a different screen, and it's always a lot of clicking and dive in, dive out, and you maybe get you're lost in between. You don't know exactly, am I at the right screen right now? Which output I'm editing? That's why we added here the option to not only to dive into a specific screen, but to dive into all the screens. So
Wow.
that's what I did right now, and I can now also edit all the screens, but that's that's a little bit the window on the top right here is a bit small. So we have now since 25.1 the more flexible layout. So we just added an option to move the whole this auxiliary engine or this warp engine mapping engine over to its own window here. And it's now possible, to edit all the sources at once, and to see all the outputs at once. So yeah, what do we see here? Let's have a look at our live tab. We have a dry PIXERA 4 and our local service, and you can now find them here as well. So that's the outer rectangle defines the service, and then we have both systems right now have just one graphics card. So there's just the main graphics card, and then we have the outputs here. And it's now possible to work on all the stuff here without diving in, without diving out all the time. And
Right.
I think that's a great improvement. So I would say to the overall
Right.
experience here. So, and the whole arrangement right now here, it's obviously also I realized this little. I just used content mapping to place the texture onto the screens, and if we just edit that one here, need to select one. So you can see also the source and destination editing here is really, I would say, it's an improvement to see both windows
Right. So you can
on
really
top
see
of each other.
that source and destination
Yeah.
of where we're doing stuff. And one thing that I've noted, or one question that folks are asking, and something that I asked you yesterday when we were doing a little run through is, can is this going to be for LEDs, or is this going to be for projections as well?
It's for both. It's definitely for both. So I just can just quickly open up. I've just a very small project here for projection. And we can also return to the LED again. But if we have a look right now here, so we have two projectors, and need to split that one again, move the aux engine over here. So I can select them both, and I see both images on my outputs here next to each other, I can go to warp
Oh,
and start working on both outputs, and no back and forth between the projectors
right.
anymore. So quick change and
Yeah.
work on that stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully being able to move back and forth between projectors, if you've got a bunch of projectors that you're doing at the same time, should make that process much
Yeah.
smoother and hopefully with fewer clicks, which I think that's something, you know, that I've felt, at least in our recent kind of development pushes, is you know, really trying to work on the efficiency for programming, especially as the projects get bigger. You know, fewer clicks adds up over time, and you know, Jan, I think you've done a great job in doing some of that with some of these features here.
Yeah, great. Yeah, thanks. Maybe can just maybe if questions come up, we can just go to
Yeah.
the mapping example
Yeah.
again.
Awesome. Yeah, I I think that's pretty much it. There was one other little thing we wanted to talk about with screen groups, and some of the changes that you made there.
Yeah, I mean it's oh, I just didn't want to do a split on the right. It's basically it's also profits. Sorry, need to reset the layout. So this um, it also profits from the work on the mapping. So we changed the algorithms how the screens are positioned
Mm-hmm.
here. What did I do? Oh,
Oh no,
sorry.
that's
Let's have a look. Like here. So it's we can see it here right now. So we have the setup here with the screens, that the screens are overlapping. So that one that in the middle overlaps these two. And if we have a look at the screen groups, and we maybe just dive in here and switch to the perspectives, it's this Frozen Position Logical Raster is ticked, and in a current release, that would lead to a situation where the perspectives are probably looks quite distorted. So
mm-hmm.
it's well separated, but you lose the connection to the real world screen setup. And with the improved algorithm, which is also used for positioning the screens in the mapping tab, it's yeah, it's much closer to the real world position. So I think that's a big advantage. And yeah, what I wanted to mention, I can't show it right now, but currently, if we dive in here to all the screens right now, the position of the source textures and the output here is fixed, but we gonna make them movable. Like maybe the auto arrangement doesn't work that well or as well as we see here in this example. So, or you want to see the your services, your machines in a different order.
Mm,
So we will make this editable.
got it. Well, amazing. There's some questions that have been coming in that we'll answer, and I'll note, you know, if you've got other questions for Jan, you know, we've got him here for a little bit. Captive audience. So if you're interested, he's found a little bug that I could tell he's chasing down here. So questions on can we move the clock onto another GUI output? You know, as of right now, I don't think there's a plan for that. Maybe it's a feature request already, but I think that, you know, this GUI, having a GUI clock and adding some functionality there, it certainly becomes more of a you know, a thing you could do. If you're talking about, can you detach the clock as a panel and put it on another output? The answer is yes. But if you're talking about outputting a clock onto an output, You could do that via something like control right now, but there's not that's not something that this GUI clock feature is going to work with.
Yeah.
Cool. Possible to show different timeline times or only the current? I think only the current is possible right now, and plan to have multiple timeline open. It's definitely on the plan. Jan, can you talk a little more about multiple timelines?
Yeah, I think that should be, so that's just the starting point. So it should be no, I mean, we have the different timelines already here, so that I think that should be not that hard to add here.
Great. And being able to open multiple timelines at the same time from a GUI perspective?
Currently not. So I mean, it's on the list. I already heard this quite often, and we already try. We started to think about it and what is necessary. So it's we're not at zero, but it's it's on the list.
Great. Awesome. Let's see. Possible to play the same audio layer on a different client or only the same? It would not be possible. I don't think it's possible to play an audio layer across two clients right now.
Currently not. Yeah. So we plan, like, let's little outlook into the future. Maybe we plan to start with more audio brushes. We plan to do it in December to start to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
They won't be part of the 25.3 or 26.1 release, because as you said, we want to release an intermediate version hopefully before Christmas, and then aim for a 26.1 release soon in the beginning of 2026. So the audio brushes won't be part of that version, but they will be available then in 26.2. So the second release in 2026, and we will work, for example, on audio input as well. And there are several steps we need to take. The overall goal is to get the audio devices, also get them integrate them here into the service tree, but we will do this step by step. So to keep shorter release cycles, the first thing we're going to work on will be the audio input.
Great.
So
awesome. Any other questions from the chat? It's kind of quieted down for a bit. We'll give it a second here. I know if just I'll vamp a little bit to see if anyone comes up with any questions. If you're going to be at LDI, make sure you stop by our booth. We'll have a bunch of representation there saying hello. So please stop by. Or ISE is coming up in February, just around the corner. So if you're in Europe or if you're going to be in Barcelona, visit our booth there. That tends to be our biggest show, and I know that talking with Jan and some of the other development team, there's some surprises planned for there too. So something exciting to look forward to for sure. And we'll probably do another tech talk after ISE to talk about some of those things as well.
Great.
All right. It doesn't look like any other questions are coming in. So I think we'll take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you so much, Jan. And, thanks for joining in and hanging out with me this morning, or staying late on a Friday afternoon for you. I know it's
been a pleasure.
I know it's a little later, but I really appreciate it. And I think everyone else did too. And, I think some of these features are really exciting. So, with that, we'll go ahead and sign off.
Thank you for hosting.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Bye-bye.